So, picture this: you go to renew your driver's license, and when it's time to pay, you go to the cashier, you open up your e wallet, and you pay in sand dollars. No cash needed. Well, if you can imagine that world, just imagine the Bahamas being the forerunner in digital assets. Yes, digital assets. So, can we talk about the Bahamas as a leader in digital assets in the Americas? So, welcome. And if you're just joining me, my name is Dr. Deidre Moss. I'm an educator, a motivator, and a talk connoisseur. And today, our session is focused on digital assets. It's all about digital assets. Before we begin, if you're tuning in from our social media page and you just joined us, like and share this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links on our page. We do want to hear from you. And if there's something that you think we should be talking about, feel free to let us know. Let us know if you would like to advertise on our platform or sponsor our program. And with that said, let's get into our topic today. So let me just start off by saying that I am not an economist. I am not a financial expert. However, I believe that as an informed citizen, we can influence all of us. So that said, if you're informed or well versed on this topic, I invite you to join me as I seek to dissect and discuss this topic. You can add your comments and we will go from there. So today's session is based on an article published by the Nassau Guardian by Chester Robards on May 15, 2025, that spoke to, well, the headline read, Cuba, the Bahamas will become digital assets capital of the Americas. So the article speaks to the financial services industry in the Bahamas and what the relevant authorities have done through law and policy to develop a financial services industry as a result of these efforts. So some of the advances that have been made, inclusive of those technicalities, is that the Bahamas is a leader in digital assets. So as we dive deeper into this discussion, let's digital assets are stored digitally. Let me just backtrack. Because I did have some technical difficulties. So as we dive deeper into this discussion, let's define you. Digital assets are, let me just backtrack again because I know I had some technical difficulties. So we're defining digital assets as value that are stored digitally and have a distinct right to use. Digital assets can range from documents, photos, and videos to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Of our discussion, stage for the Bahamas to become the digital asset capital. That said, let's get into the facts. So, the financial services industry is definitely an important industry in the Bahamas. It is among the top leading industries in the Bahamas, among the big giant that we know to be the tourism industry. The financial services industry is a major contributor to the GDP or the gross domestic product of the Bahamas. So, according to PwC, the financial services sector is the second largest industry that accounts for 15 to 20% of our gross domestic product, of the gross domestic product of the Bahamas. So, what has the relevant authority done to really move or poise the Bahamas or put the Bahamas forward to become this digital assets capital? So, the policy white paper on the future of digital assets in the Bahamas from April 20th, 2022, according to this document, this sets the vision and framework to serve as a guide for Bahamian digital assets policy between the date of the white paper, that being April 20th, 2022 to year 2026. So while to the white paper sets out to attract digital asset businesses to set up in the Bahamas and transform the country into the leading digital asset hub in the Caribbean, as well as a global leader in the regulation of businesses. So it was the intention of the relevant authorities based on this white paper to grow the sector by year 2025. And the relevant authorities looked at the examples of successes of in other countries and saw that this would be an opportunity to not only provide sustainable growth for the Bahamian economy, but also increase the prosperity of Bahamian citizens. And this is mapped out in the white paper on the future of digital assets in the Bahamas. So the white paper speaks to the DARE Act, that is the Digital Assets and Registered Exchanges Act, which seeks to regulate digital asset businesses. And further to that, these are the policy objectives that are outlined in the white paper document. So the document outlines that it is the relevant authorities' objective to explore new opportunities in rapidly and continuously evolving digital asset landscape, including DeFi, NFTs, stable coins, and asset reference tokens, to improve the Bahamas as a well regulated jurisdiction for well run digital asset businesses, to clarify and expand the legislative framework, to encourage innovation in fintech, explore the links between the Bahamas' existing financial services toolkit to facilitate innovation, develop skills and expertise to fill the jobs created in the Bahamas digital asset sector, to work with the central bank to ensure that policies allow for Bahamians to have access to digital assets in Bahamian dollars, to build capacity and expand resources of the SCB to support its role as the prominent digital assets regulator, to provide sustainable funding for digital assets policy initiatives and programs. To meet these objectives, the white paper outlined that with reference to skills and education, there comes a need for Bahamians to fill the jobs that would be created in the digital asset sector. So, as a result, the relevant authorities would seek to expand academic, professional, and vocational education opportunities. The relevant authorities will support collaboration between applicable regulators and the University of the Bahamas to develop a series of crypto asset courses with certificate and degree offerings. Further, according to the white paper with reference to Bahamians' access to digital assets, the relevant authorities will enable access to digital assets for Bahamians in Bahamian dollars and encourage the use of SAN dollars. So, according to the white paper, encouraging greater use of the SAN dollar, the central bank digital currency issued by the Central Bank of the Bahamas, is a priority for the government, and the relevant authorities seek to enable Bahamians access to digital assets and pay taxes using sand dollars and promote wider use of sand dollars in commerce on the island. So, a disclaimer for anyone who wants to further explore the white paper, I encourage you to read the entire document. It is available online. And so, coming from that, the article that speaks to the government's positioning the Bahamas to become the digital assets capital of the Americas, we want to look at some questions to consider. Okay, the buy-in of digital currency among Bahamians, especially among the older generation, with the relevant authorities' goal to promote the use of the sand dollar. How will they create buy-in with individuals who are comfortable paying for items using their cash? How will you create buy-in to encourage persons to use digital currencies? How are Bahamians being prepared for this move to position the Bahamas as the capital for digital assets in the Americas? And again, how will this impact Bahamians? So these are some questions that I think we need to consider and these are questions that I also considered when I saw the article that spoke to this positioning of the Bahamas to become the digital assets capital of the Americas. And so it's definitely a continuing conversation that we're going to have because this objective is still being rolled out. So at this moment, I'm going to pause and come to our motivational minute. And at this time, I will also check for comments as well. But this brings us to our motivational minute. So, our motivational minute speaks to when you make things happen for others, you create an atmosphere for things to happen for you. And as you lift up others, you simultaneously lift up yourself. So, we live in a world where people can be incredibly selfish, where people believe that their needs come first and everything else should come secondary. They are all about themselves and they could care less about anyone else. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with focusing on you and your goals and prioritizing yourself at times. But extending a hand out to help someone else doesn't hurt either, especially if you are in a position to do so. And believe it or not, taking the opportunity to uplift someone else when you're in a position to do so might serve to benefit you in the long run, all things being considered. Showing up and supporting someone else and making it possible for them to achieve their goals might be the key to unlock the doors that you've been standing behind. Your return on investment in someone else might be more than you expect. And just like any investment, there are risks involved, especially when people don't return the same generosity that they receive or they don't appreciate the support that you've offered to them. But this is not always the case. And sometimes that one that you lift up today might be the one to lift you up tomorrow. And even if that is not the case, it never hurts to put out good, because sometimes that good returns to you in more ways than one. So that brings us to the end of our motivational minute. So that brought us to the end of our motivational minute. And that brings us to the end of our session today on the move and on this article that speaks to the move to position the Bahamas as the digital assets capital of the Americas, and the talk around digital currency, and the talk around the positioning of the Bahamas in the financial services industry. And of course, this is a continuing discussion. But this brings us to the end of our session. And thank you for tuning in, joining us today. We want to remind you, if you want to advertise with us, let us know. You can also reach out to us through our page. Our contacts are there. We want to grow, so grow with us. To those watching via social media, thank you for listening in. Like our page for future notifications of upcoming talks. Comment under our videos, let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you want us to talk about. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dr. Deidre Moss. Can We Talk with Dr. Deidre Moss? Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and all the addresses and links that are provided on our page. So this brings us to the end of our session. Do.